good. So good to see that there's still a few survivors out there from last night's event. That's good. Okay, well, before I kind of get into the presentation, I've noticed that in the past 3 days, while all of us were having a great time here, talking to each other, sharing ideas, there was those who were actually organizing the event and making sure that everything's going fine and everything's working well. So Samantha and her team and the audio-visual team at the back end. So just a round of applause, if possible, for the team who managed to put all of this together. So with that, I'm going to go into the introductions, just talk about Vodafone, my role, and what we are doing with xMatters. So I'm part of the senior program management team within Vodafone, and my role kind of involves the delivery of a number of systems. One of them is xMatters, and I've been also lucky enough to have BMC Remedy on demand as well, part of the product sets that I manage within Vodafone. And I sit within enterprise IT, and if you know Vodafone, and I don't know how many people out there actually know Vodafone, but we are a telecommunication company, and behind the telecommunication company, it's all IT. So on a very beautiful Monday morning, as I was walking into the office, and the only agenda I had at that point on my mind was grabbing a cup of coffee, I saw our CEO approaching me, and I said, boy, that's going to be a long week. So he came across to me and said, Hani, we have a big problem. I said, well, we have a few big problems, but which one are we talking about specifically? He said, well, yesterday I walked into a customer site, and we had a communication outage for a number of hours, and I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, huh, how's that my problem? I knew it was going to become my problem very soon. So he said, well, you need to find a solution. We need to find something to make sure that the SLT, and that's the senior leadership team within Vodafone, is aware that there is outages before the customer tells us. So with that in mind, I had the next big idea, and that was grabbing that cup of coffee. Went to my desk, and as a typical program manager, I picked up the phone, called a number of consultancy companies out there, and said, hey guys, can you help us out? Because we need to find a communication platform. They said, yeah, we'll get back to you. And hours went past, minutes went past, absolutely nothing. At that point, I was really stressed, panicking, thinking, okay, day's coming to an end. We still haven't got a solution. So I did the best next thing, Google search. No, I'm joking, I didn't use Google search. I actually picked up my phone and asked Siri, and I said, what is the best global notification platform, which is on demand? And Siri responded, xMatters. And I was like, great, I have my solution. So the hard part done, I contacted xMatters, and they were very helpful, friendly, and they said, okay, we can help you out. And within a number of days, we actually had the solution up and running. So now it was the easy part. So before I get into the implementation and how actually we've implemented xMatters, and we are quite young to the xMatters because we've only started implementing that since January 2015. And we've just recently actually completed that implementation. So we are at the very early stages of actually putting a notification platform in place. So what I want to do is just give you a brief background about Vodafone, what we do, why really IT matters to us, why did we go for a cloud-based solution or an on-demand solution. And I'm going to talk about the 5 steps to the cloud-based solution, because although we are at the early stages, we do have a longer-term plan of what we actually want to do. I'm going to describe a little bit about BMC Remedy and how we've done that integration into the xMatters and what we're using for. and then really going to run into the details of the 5-step plan that we have for the next 5 years. So if you're familiar with Vodafone, headquarters based in the UK in London, and it was formed very recently, just in 1985. And we've just had our 30-year anniversary, actually, in fact. And I know everyone's younger than 30 years, so you won't remember the old mobile phones, the bricks with a cable and a big battery pack. But in the 30 years, we've actually come quite a long way in terms of being a mobile company. And bearing in mind that in the UK, the first ever mobile call was done on the Vodafone network just 30 years ago. Coming to a place where now we actually operate in 30 countries, and we partner with 50 more providers in 50 other countries. Now, in 2007, at that point, we had about 400 million customers globally. 24 of our biggest multinational customers came to us and said, hey guys, you really need to make it easier for us to do business with you. And if you're a multinational customer and you operate in multiple countries, you know how difficult it is to have a mobile policy across the globe, because you would have to deal, well, if you're dealing with Vodafone, you would have at that point still had to deal with different parts of the organization. You would have, let's say, 15 different contracts, 15 different SLAs. And worst case, if you actually were dealing with different network providers, then you probably had 10 or 15 different network providers globally. So Vodafone Global Enterprise, which is a division of Vodafone Group, was born in 2007. And the primary purpose was to actually provide services to our enterprise customers globally. So we provide them with a one solution, one contract, one SLA. So they don't really need to worry about managing their network, the mobile network anymore. As well as the mobility products, some of the unique capabilities that we have within Vodafone is providing fixed line services, mobile broadband, TV packages. But we also operate in other areas, which is very fast growing, machine to machine. And machine to machine in the past 3 years has actually grown very fast. If you own a car, a modern car these days, most probably that car is connected. Tesla is a good example. If you own a Tesla, that car is connected. It's sending information back to the manufacturer, but it's also being updated online all the time. If you walk into any of the Vodafone stores, you can pretty much order a coffee using your mobile phone. So you can just send a text message, and your coffee gets dispensed. You can go into the street, find the vending machine, and you want a Coke. You can send a text message, and immediately your Coke gets dispensed. But taking that further as well, one of the cool things I did a few days ago is I went into an indoor car park, and I got my ticket. And as I was coming out, I just realized on the ticket it said, just send a text message, give this number. And did that, and I was able to pay for the ticket without putting it into a machine, without getting any change out. And as I was coming out of the car park, I didn't even have to put the ticket into the machine anymore. Got to the barrier, there was a camera that saw my number plate, and the barrier opened, and I went out. So that's all of the stuff that we're doing around the machine-to-machine area. Apart from that, the new area for us is cloud-based hosting. So we do actually provide hosting for our customers as well. And we provide technical expertise and professional services as well. So I'm just going to bore you with a few numbers. So Vodafone's global revenue in 2015 was 42.2 billion pounds, English pounds. And that's broken down, so 38.5 billion of that comes from various services. 76% of that is the mobile Mobile is still our core business. But 20% of that is the fixed line part, which is something new to us. We're actually moving to the fixed line. So if you are in Europe and you are a Vodafone customer, most probably you take your fixed line, as in your voice, broadband, TV, and your mobile, all from Vodafone. And the other 4% at the moment is the other areas, like machine-to-machine, professional services, cloud and hosting. It's new to us, it's growing, and it's growing very fast. We have 446 million customers globally, 12 million fixed line customers within Europe. Now, why is that important? Well, everything is about data these days. If you've got a smartphone, you most probably use it pretty much for everything. Facebook, WhatsApp, Viber. We actually use our mobile phones less for making voice calls and using it to send SMS. We want to be online. We want to be online 24/7. And in 2014, Vodafone was only providing 46% 4G coverage. 2015, only 1 year after, is 72%. 2016, our target is going to be over 90% 4G coverage. 2017, it's going to be 5G. So that's quite important because Vodafone has 283,000 base stations globally. 1.2 trillion voice calls are made over the Vodafone network per year. 290 billion SMS messages, text messages are sent. But the last figure is important. 982 petabytes of data is transferred over the Vodafone network per year. If I compare that to the previous years, you'll see that the voice and SMS numbers are coming down, but the data numbers are going up. And that's because our customers expect to be online 24/7. So why does it matter? Well, the backbone of a successful telecommunication company is IT. We are actually an IT company at the end of the day. Project Spring was initiated in 2014, and it's an investment. It's a £19 billion investment in the mobile fixed line networks, as well as our IT infrastructure. Now, that's quite a lot. That's half of our revenue. Why are we doing that? Because we offer business-critical services. Our customers rely on our services and network availability. Our internal operational teams actually rely on those services to be available so that they can provide the right service to our customers. And most importantly is the customer satisfaction. It's all based on the quality of the service that we offer. So why do we go to a cloud-based solution? Well, our CEO wanted a very fast deployment. Apart from that, one of the things is it's fast to deploy. It is true. Within Vodafone, from the point that we actually put an order for a physical server to the point that it's actually installed and all networked, it takes 4 to 6 months. That's a long time if you want to deploy service. So for us to go to an on-demand solution, that was really fast. Within a matter of days, we managed to get the service up and running. It's simple to maintain. Well, we don't maintain it, actually, in fact. We leave that to the vendor. So all we're doing is managing the service or the relationship with that vendor. Worry-free support. Well, it's not keeping me awake at night anymore. I don't have to worry about how much resources we have on the server or whether the next 500 customers that we're going to bring on board is going to take down the service or not. That's all being managed by xMatters or the vendors. And the rapid disaster recovery. One lesson that we learned in 2011. Now, at that point, our IT policy said that if you have a data center or an operational center, then you would have the backup center about 600 miles away. We did that. And then our operations center, our main operations center, which was based out in Cairo in Egypt, overnight we found out that the government had cut the internet connection in and out of the country. We lost everything. The only service that was up and running for us was Remedy, and that was a Remedy on demand. It was actually hosted by BMC. So within a number of hours, we were able to transfer the whole operation center into another country, knowing that the systems were still up and running for us. Trust me, it was the most difficult 30 days I had in my life. And the global access. So since then, we've actually learned our lesson. We have replicated our operation centers, our data centers, in different countries, in different continents, in fact, so that we can ensure that we've got the global access, and in case of a disaster recovery, we can recover the service very fast. Well, as I mentioned, we're quite new, so we are at that step 1 or 1.5 at the moment, and for us, step 1 is what our CEO wanted, which is the automated communication to internal stakeholders. So our senior leadership team, our internal IT teams. So where we have a major incident, we are able to send out that communication, and we do have a staged plan. So for example, the SLT team and the service management team are informed in advance, and then we send out that communication and bring the second line and the third lines into the picture. The next step for us is going to be automated communication direct to customers, directly to the end users. And then taking that further, an evolution of that will be using that communication for other types of services, billing, for example, ordering, provisioning, change management, security. The fourth step is the integration across the group that we're looking at. So we're looking at a solution where we will have our monitoring tools completely integrated into our Remedy platform with the CMDB backend, and being able to detect from a monitoring alert that comes in to know what services are impacted, and based on that to know what customers are impacted, in which regions, and therefore be able to communicate precisely to those customers who need to be informed. The fifth step, the longer-term plan, well, if we can do it best, then why can't we offer that as a service to our customers? So this is actually then taking that further and potentially providing xMatters as a service to our customers, allowing our customers to integrate into the xMatters platform that we will have. So I talked about the BMC Remedy piece, and that's the system that I manage as well. And we've been able to, through web services, integrate our BMC Remedy on demand, which is obviously hosted and managed by BMC, into the xMatters platform. And what that does, it actually allows our operation centers, without having to ever log into xMatters, without having to worry about what configuration exists in xMatters, to initiate a P1 or a P2 ticket through Remedy. And then Remedy will take all of the information, all of the important information, inject that through a web service call into xMatters, and then xMatters, based on the subscription list that it holds, will then start communicating out to the right customers. And that's currently done with the information that is collected out of the BMC Atrium CMDB, as well as the information which is logged as part of the ticket. So what that allows us to do is it allows our operations team and our major incident management teams just to work on the Remedy platform. They will concentrate onto their day-to-day activities, not having to worry about what happens within xMatters. But at the end of that, what they get is a templated communication which then goes out to the right customer without them ever having to worry about who the customer is or who's actually on the subscription list of that service. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail around the 5 steps that I just mentioned. So first thing was the internal communication. So we're going to be using that obviously for our major incident management, so our P1 and the P2 critical and high tickets. We're going to have stage notification, which is something that we've already implemented. So our internal user and stakeholders are informed in advance of the communication then going out to our customers. We use xMatters to open up a technical bridge with the second and third line teams, which allows us to bring everyone very quickly onto that call, which is quite important because if we had the system in the Egypt crisis, it wouldn't have taken us 5 hours to bring the senior leadership team onto a conference bridge. It would have been a matter of minutes. And the rapid recovery of the service. If we can get everyone onto a bridge, then we can actually work on the problem much faster. Second step, the customer communication, the external communication. So we're working actually on targeting the customers directly. So when there is a network outage, let's say in Düsseldorf in Germany, we don't actually spam every single customer that we have globally to say that we have a network outage in Germany. And I'm not going to receive a call from my client in Italy to say, well, why am I getting this notification? Manage subscription lists. So we allow our service management community then to manage those subscription lists themselves for each of the customers and services that they manage. Regular updates. So we know we have a P1 or a P2 incident, but we are committed then to provide regular updates to the customer to inform them that what we're doing, how we're going to recover that service. And most importantly, it needs to be in line with the customer commitments. We have contracts with our customers that demands us to actually send that communication in the regular format, and that's all specified in the contract. So we need to make sure that that's all automated and managed within the system itself, and templated communication. In the past, we had 5 different teams in 5 different locations with different subscription lists, and they were sending out those communication manually through email. It was a big mess. So now we have this templated communication. It all looks the same, well formatted. It's got the right amount of information within the communication that we send out. Taking it to the next level, we are actually already looking at what other systems that we currently have within Vodafone that we can integrate into xMatters for communication. Billing. Billing is very important to us because we provide central billing to all of our enterprise customers globally, and that means that we can actually send the bills by email, push notification, but more importantly, we can actually send out reminders to our customers when the bill is due to be paid as well. Order dispatching. When we dispatch the order to the customer, we can send a text message or a push notification to say, actually, your order's been dispatched, here's the tracking number. And taking that to a security level as well. A lot of our customers actually use portals that Vodafone has. They need password resets done, and currently we do the password reset. We send it to it via email, which is not very secure because it contains both pieces of information, the login ID and the password in one communication. And you know, we would be able to split this. So we send out the email, but we can send out the password in a different medium, like text message. Where we really want to be is to have a fully end-to-end automated process where our monitoring tools, and we have NetCool, for example, to send out the monitoring alerts into BMC Remedy, and for BMC Remedy to look up in the CMDB to find out exactly which service has been impacted, and therefore which customer has been impacted, because it knows which customer is taking that service. And based on that, to automatically send out the notifications to our customers. And the 5th step is what we talked about, revenue generation. If we're able to get to that stage that we can have that process well-defined end-to-end, then we should be able to offer that as a service to our customers as well. We should be able to allow our customer platforms to be integrated as well into the xMatters. And if we can do that, then that will be offered as an enhanced service, as a value add. It could also be a revenue generator as well for Vodafone. Cool. So with that, I think in summary, Vodafone is expanding. It's an IT organization. It's expanding very fast. And it's a smart business. And a smart business needs smart notifications. And that's why we use xMatters. Thank you.
Thank you, Hani. Any questions for Hani before we let him off the stage? One in the back.
Hey, Hani. Great presentation. I have a question for you about some of the other systems that are part of your framework there. So you mentioned you have NetCool, you've got Remedy on Demand, you've got xMatters. What are the other things that make up the toolkit that allow you to have the visibility to drive the whole process forward?
Some of the other tools that we're currently actually in the process of implementing, we're putting an inventory management system like Granite, which is an Ericsson product as well. But all of this is coming together. So we are working on putting all of our assets into Granite, which will then feed into the BMC Atrium CMDB. And then the CMDB for us is going to be the key thing where it will hold all of those relationships between the assets and so on. Our billing platforms as well are going to be integrated into the Remedy system as well. So we would know that when a bill is due, we can send out the right reminders, right information to the correct customer.
Do you have any plans to include, sorry, follow-up question as well, on the like log analytics or application performance or anything like that? Do those feed into this framework as well, or are those considered a separate silo?
It will be. It's our longer-term vision, so I think we're probably about 3 or 4 years away from that point.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Okay.
So in your 5-step plan, how long are you estimating for each of those phases?
Good question. You mean for the 5 phases? Mm-hmm. So we're already at, let's say, phase 1.5, so very close to phase 2, and phase 2 for us is going to be around early 2016. But the rest of the 3 phases is more of another 3-year plan that we're looking at, so it's not going to be very quick.
One more question in the back.
I saw the push in phase 3. Are you using mobile app right now, say for your MIM?
Yes, we are using mobile app internally, of course, at the moment for our stakeholders. And for us, mobile app is going to be quite important when we even go to the customer communication. As I said, we're moving to a world where everyone's online. Our customers expect to be online as well, so we tend to do most of our communication, if we can, through data and mobile app. The other good thing about the mobile app is that if you've got an employee who's just left the company, you can just remove them from xMatters, and all of that data that sits in the mobile app actually gets cleared. So from a security point of view, that's quite good for us as well.